So today's video is for the man or woman who has nice business ideas but are deterred because they don't have money to sponsor their business idea. If money is the most important thing in creating a business, why then do we have many businesses who launch with significant amount of money but they still fail? Now, the question is, so what happens if you don't have money to buy before you sell? This is where the second rule of capitalism, which is hardly spoken about but will serve as the crust of today's video, comes into action. What I got from this story on my flight from this now very successful businessman is that even though he had no money, he had deep insight and knowledge of the business he wanted to go into. He could communicate his ask properly. Thirdly, he used his ingenuity, that is creativity, to figure out a way to get what he wanted, that is the goods. And lastly, he believed his own story, which is a very important piece if you want to master the power and magic of accumulation of fortune.
Welcome to theBLOcounsel, where we talk about everything personal development and business development.
So today's video is for the man or woman, gentleman or lady, or let me include the boy or girl who has nice business ideas that they believe they can pull off, but are deterred because they don't have money to sponsor their business idea and take it from just being an idea to reality. This video is also for those entrepreneurs who have tried to raise money from investors or rich people for their business or projects and have been discouraged and unsuccessful. If you are in any of these categories of people currently, I want you to take a moment and ask yourself this. If money is the most important thing in creating a business or setting up a project, why then do we have many businesses who launch with significant amount of money into the marketplace but they still fail? Well, you guessed right. It's because money is not the most important thing you need in creating a business. This is why you can have all the money to start a business and still fail at it. As a matter of fact, I can comfortably argue that money is one of the least important things when creating a business. At the same time, I would like you not to mistake or misquote what I'm saying here, because I'm speaking about the resources you need to create or start a business or project, not necessarily the resources you need to grow or scale an existing business. So now let's go deeper. If money is not the most important resource you need in creating a business, what is or what other things are more important to have when starting or creating a business? I'm hearing intellectual prowess and knowledge of the business. I'm hearing your ability to build relationships, your willingness, resilience, and ingenuity. I'm also hearing good communication skills and the ability to tell your story. If you have thought of any of these valuable resources I've just mentioned, then you're absolutely correct, because you must remember that the same way capital can generate value, that's the same way value can and should also generate capital. So what I'm directly saying here is that when you have all these valuable resources that we have mentioned without money or capital, you should for sure be able to generate and make money with them. And it's also interesting because if you have financial resources, that is, you have money, and you lack all these other valuable resources that will help you in creating a business, your business will do nothing but fail. This now brings me to the topic of today's video, which in very simple terms is that just the same way you can buy something and sell, you can also sell something before you buy it. And I'm speaking strictly in the context of capitalism here alone. Now, let me explain. The first rule of capitalism, which is the concept of buying and selling that many people are used to, simply means that, okay, let's say I'm a trader of goods and commodities. I must buy the goods first with money before I sell them for my profit. Or let's say we're looking at buying and selling from a producer or manufacturer's view. It also means that he or she must go and buy the raw materials needed to make the final product first before it can be sold for a profit. What these descriptions of buying and selling means is that the capitalist concept of buying and selling will not work for you if you do not have money to first buy the products or goods before you can then sell them. Now, the question is, So what happens if you don't have money to buy before you sell? This is where the second rule of capitalism, which is hardly spoken about, but will serve as the crust of today's video, comes into action. That is the concept of selling and buying. That means you can sell something before you buy it. So the same way you can buy and sell, that is, you use your capital to create value, is the same way you can sell and buy. That is, you can use your value to create capital. This second rule of capitalism, as I always like to call it, sums up how an entrepreneur can raise money to create a business when he or she has little or no financial capital to begin with. Let me share an example of how a trader made use of the concept of selling and buying to kickstart his now very successful trading business. So, this is the story of a trader I once met on a flight to Lagos, and he shared with me the story of his early beginnings as a businessman without no money. He said in the early days of his trading business, he knew there was a high demand for diapers, and he also knew where and how to sell them. But what he did not have was any money to buy the diapers from one of the main importers at the time who brought them into the country. After many months of deep thinking, this trader then decided one day that he would go meet with the retailers whom he would sell the diapers to and try to get a purchase order from them. And that is exactly what he did. He went to the retailers, told them he had goods that had come in, and convinced them to place an order to purchase from him. So if you notice, this trader made a very important first step. He went to get the commitment from those he would sell to first, before going to where he would buy the diapers from. After getting the purchase order, he then went to the boss, who at the time was one of the biggest importers of the brand of diapers he wanted. The trader told me that he went to the boss's office with his vehicle then, which was valued maybe at about 5 million naira at the time. He also said he had been a regular face at the port, so the boss had seen his face a few times. On getting to the office, he waited for about 2 hours before he was asked to go in to see the boss, and immediately he got in, knowing fully well that he had only 5 to 10 minutes to present himself. This was exactly what he told me that he said to the boss. He said, "Dear sir, I have admired you for many years and from afar, and I'm happy to be in your presence today. I will never take for granted the opportunities that you have given me to see you and any other opportunity given to me." He continued. He then went ahead to tell the boss to give him 4 million naira worth of goods and allow him a 30 days credit to make payments for them. Before the boss could respond, he backed his ask up by saying that he has come with a purchase order from retailers who are ready to buy, and that he has also come with his vehicle as a collateral valued at around 5 million naira, and that he was willing to leave the vehicle behind with the ownership documents until he fulfills the payment obligations for the goods on or before the 30 days timeline. The trader man said the boss, without saying a word, got up from where he sat and walked towards the office window to take a look outside. "Is that your car?" he said. The boss asked him. "Yes, sir," he responded. He then said the boss looked outside again at the car before he now spoke. "Go and tell the sales manager to give you the value of goods you want, and make sure you are here in 30 days with my money. And take your car with you because I know you will need it to sell the goods." And this was all the boss said. And just like that, this man got into business, and the rest is history. What I got from this story on my flight from this now very successful businessman is that even though he had no money, he had deep insight and knowledge of the business he wanted to go into. He could communicate his ask properly. Thirdly, he used his ingenuity, that is creativity, to figure out a way to get what he wanted, that is the goods. And lastly, he believed his own story, which is a very important piece if you want to master the power and magic of accumulation of fortune. I also strongly believe that he would have gone away with the goods even if he didn't come with the collateral, just because he believed his own story and understood the value of his own story. Again, the money is important, quite all right, but the money is not everything, especially when you are creating a business. And I want you to understand that I keep emphasizing on when you are creating a business. That example I gave is for the trader selling goods, but this concept of selling and buying is what project initiators do when they are sourcing for capital for their projects. They tell a good story of the project, understand the value of that story, and sell the story, that is the benefits, to investors or financial institutions who buy the idea of the project by putting money into it before the project is ready to begin selling in reality. Same thing goes for the startup companies who pitch to angel investors or venture capitalists. They sell their startup story, believe in their ingenuity to create a useful product, and then get the VCs to buy in exchange for value they will get in the future. In essence, they are selling first, that is, getting the invested cash, before buying, that is, before going ahead to build the product in this case. So like I said previously, many people use this selling and buying concept of capitalism already, but it is not frequently talked about. Although I must say here that many self-made millionaires and billionaires have used this concept of selling something first before then buying it to raise money for their now successful business empires. So as I conclude here, the Blow counselors, I want to say again that the purpose of this message is not to downplay the role and importance of money in creating a business, but rather is to amplify the importance of other valuable resources that I must have for a business to be successful in its early stages. The purpose of this video is also to give those entrepreneurs who have good business ideas and are busy looking for money to start their business, to give them a wake-up nudge that can help them think out of the box and find creative ways to find the capital they require, or in other words, find ways to use their value to create the capital that they need. So if you enjoyed our video today, please like it and share with friends and family who are creating a business or who have plans to create a business. You can also tell me what type of business you are creating or want to create in the comments area, and I can share tips on creative ways to kickstart with what you have in order to get where you want to be. So thank you so much guys for listening and watching this video of the 2 rules of capitalism today. And remember that service to many always leads to greatness. Thank you for watching. Ciao.